All right, we just jumped over the fence. We're in here with the pigs, and Blake manages the pastured hog operation at Seven Sons as well. Uh, these look like some pretty happy pigs, Blake.
Yep.
What breeds are we looking at?
Primary Duroc, Berkshire, and Hamp would be the dominated breeds.
Okay, all right. So, Blake, it looks like these hogs are able to express their natural behaviors out here. I see a lot of rooting going on over there and rolling around in some of the mud and the dirt.
Yep.
Why is that so important for hogs?
Well, hogs, that's part of the way they stay clean. So a hog naturally is looking for a mud hole, and when the mud is when they take a mud bath, that mud that's on them dries, and as it dries, it falls off, and it's pulling the dead skin, and it's pulling all the bugs and anything that would be on them. It's just basically a cleansing, a natural way of cleansing. So it's like exfoliating.
Right. Blake, something else that I notice out here is that these pigs actually have tails. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned how many pigs are raised in Indiana?
Over 8 million.
Over 8 million. Would it be safe to say that all of those have their tails cut off after birth?
Pretty much all of those are going to have their tails cut off.
And why is that?
Well, because they're raised in confinement and they have the concentration of the animals so closely together, they get bored and they get irritated, and they're just looking for something to do, and they'll start chewing on anything they can, and it happens to be their neighbor's tail, and they'll just chew them right off.
And that leads to cannibalism.
Yeah.
Blake, going back real quick to the antibiotic use in livestock, it was interesting. I think it was last summer, Scientific American magazine, which is one of the oldest publications in the U.S., and it has global distribution. They did an article on antibiotic resistance in the food chain, and they actually came here because they were so intrigued with the idea that we were not using any antibiotics in the production. Do you remember some of the research they were showing and telling us?
Yeah, there was a lot of good research in that article, but something that stuck out in particular to me was the fact that in 2014 it showed that over 21 million pounds of medically important antibiotics were used in livestock production.
Wow, how many?
21 million pounds.
Wow, okay, of medically important antibiotics being used, and a lot of
that's
that is
the key.
Yeah, and a lot of that they were saying was in the for pork production, which was their concern. They also shared that over 2 million people diagnosed with antibiotic-resistant infections every year, and over 23,000 people die. So that's why this is kind of a big issue, and being able to find ways to raise animals naturally without the use of antibiotics is so important. Some of this stuff eventually comes around to bite us. So Blake, let's talk a little bit more about their diet in detail. I was watching them earlier. They're just munching down on this on these oats that are growing out here. What else do they get in addition to the pasture?
In addition to the pasture they already have, they're also supplemented with some non-GMO corn and soybean, along with some oats.
Okay.
So and that's put out free choice.
Right. So because unlike cattle, pigs do not have ruminant stomachs, four-chambered stomachs, so they do not thrive well just on forage. So they definitely, and just like in the wild, they're going to be eating nuts that fall from the trees and some grains. So Blake, you just mentioned that we don't feed any of our animals any GMOs. Explain what is a GMO? A lot of people are confused about that.
It stands for genetically modified organisms, and in simple terms, what they're doing is they're changing the structure of the plant to be able to withstand glyphosate, which is a herbicide.
And they're actually doing that by injecting genes from other species into, for example, the corn seed, for example. So it's not hybrid breeding of plants.
No.
It's actually altering the gene structure. All right, hey Blake, thanks a lot for giving us a tour here today. And this is basically a great option for somebody looking for healthy, clean, and ethically raised pork products. And obviously they're raised in a way that really complements the entire ecosystem here at Seven Sons. So sure appreciate your time and your effort here.
Yep, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, scroll down and write them in there, and we'd love to get back with you. Either Blaine will get back with you or I will myself.
Okay, all right, folks. Look forward to the next video.